if you want to go viral on Instagram, this is the episode you should be tuning into.
Hi, I'm Nishtha, and I've been a digital content creator for the last almost 10 years. Influencers are also spending money on their weddings, right?
Right.
We also spend a lot of money on our wedding. I also felt that it is my career, and in a way, if you could, like revive that money out in some way or another, a percentage of that money out, then why not? People kept asking me whether, what will I do after I get married? I'm like, just because I've gotten married doesn't mean that I can't
Right.
make same content.
I have also read very harsh comments on Instagram for a lot of wedding influencers, and comments were like, इनकी शादी अभी तक चल रही है, इनकी शादी अभी तक खत्म नहीं हुई.
To have a random wedding dance go viral will not help you retain an audience. What you're adding to their lives will help you retain your audience. As a society, a wedding is sold to the bride so much. Like if we didn't exist,
Yeah.
this economy, the wedding economy wouldn't have survived.
What did you buy first, the jewelry or the outfit, and why?
I bought the outfit first because I think it's harder to find a right outfit than to find the right jewelry. And if you find the jewelry, then it's even harder to find the outfit that matches that jewelry.
Hi, brides to be and grooms to be. Welcome back to Shadi Ki Pathshala, India's first wedding school for couples. I am your friend in the wedding world, Rumela, lead editor at Wedding Bar India, part of the Knot Worldwide. And I am back with another very insightful, very fun, quirky conversation on all things weddings. इस special episode के लिए you can ditch your notebooks. You don't have to worry about taking notes, making pointers on अब क्या करना चाहिए, what should be the next step, etc. Because this time we're making it conversational and super fun. I have with me today an influencer who's recently got married in 2024, the month of October, and she has so many behind the scenes stories to share with us. I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun. And if you want to go viral on Instagram, this is the episode you should be tuning into. Hi Nishtha, welcome to Shadi Ki Pathshala. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I am honored to be here.
That's amazing. Before we start and deep dive into your entire wedding planning journey, do you want to talk about your what you do? What is the entire journey that you've had in the industry as an influencer, as a content creator, and also as an entrepreneur, and what the wedding content creation world has been like for you?
Okay, so hi, I'm Nishtha, and I've been a digital content creator for the last almost 10 years.
Wow.
I think I started very initially when Instagram wasn't even that commercial. Um, I was in the likes of, the first 10 influencers in India. Um, so I think I started my content creation journey in 2016, and it's been a whirlwind of like hard work, emotions, sweat and tears. But obviously, like this wasn't a full time career for me for a very long time. I was a master's in economics, and I was doing a few jobs afterwards. After I did my masters, I went ahead to do a job in KPMG. Then I went ahead to do some jobs in startups, and I eventually quit in 2019, right before COVID happened.
Okay.
And I full time pursued content creation. 2020 was, as you know, was a blast of influencers coming on Instagram,
Right.
and my bridal content creation journey started, in fact, after I got engaged. So I got engaged last year, not last year, last to last year. Sorry, oh my God, time runs really fast. I got engaged last to last year in September on my birthday, 2023. And since then, I've been on this really in-depth research about, how do weddings happen in India? What is the kind of industry that's going, like, what is the background of the industry that's been going on? Even the designers, like, the prices of each designer, what work goes behind them. And basically, my entire wedding planning journey was for a whole year. And we got row card on 21st January 2021, and we decided to get married in October. So I had ample amount of time to actually, really do my research when it comes to being a bride, and I really enjoyed it throughout the entire year that I had. But during this time, I also realized that there was such a huge gap in the market for brides and couples, and people are not catering it to it so much. Because I know that there's a huge section of India which cannot afford designers as well, right?
Right.
Because I know we've all seen in the media how. Like everybody's wearing a Manish Malhotra,
Correct.
Sabyasachi is so popular. And as a girl, I've also always been in fashion. So I've always really loved dressing up. I've looked up to, these Bollywood celebrities and people getting married over time, and I've looked up to them wearing like huge designers. And as a kid, obviously, when you couldn't afford it, you used to think that one day when I get married, I really want to wear this designer. I want to look like this, I want to look like that. So that is the market that I wanted to break for most of the Indian women who have aspirations like I did. So yeah, so throughout that 1 year, more than planning, I really focused on my content as well. And I really wanted people to understand that you do not need to spend a lot of money to look great on your wedding. Especially with how crazy the designer market has become over time, it's really inaccessible for a lot of Indian women now.
True.
Yeah.
Perfect. So you really started wedding content creation right after you got Rocafied, is what
Yeah.
I'm hearing. Did you know when you started the research that you wanted to be in this line, that you wanted to create this kind of content, or was it just out of curiosity because you were getting married and then you just followed your passion?
Okay, so I'll tell you, this happened in a very opposite way for me. I always knew that wedding content really works in India, which is, to be very honest, we all know how wedding
Yeah.
content works in India. I think as women, as brides, we've been sold the idea of getting married so much that people really enjoy, those
100%. Yeah.
emotional videos and, a bride getting ready. So I always knew that whenever I get married, whenever I do, I have to bank on it in a way that it's my career. It's something that people might judge, like if you read a lot of comments, people will just like, you're milking your wedding. Why are you doing that? But I saw it in a very different way. I saw it in a way where people are anyway, influencers are also spending money on their weddings, right? We
Right.
also spend a lot of money on our wedding. I also felt that it is my career, and in a way, if you could, like revive that money out in some way or another, a percentage of that money out, then why not? Not everybody has the benefit of doing that. And I did. So I always thought that whenever I get married, this is something that I would definitely bank on. And I want to be very honest about it. So yeah, then after that, I started researching only because I was really interested in finding out things. Like, I really wanted to gain knowledge because before this, I did not have the time, neither the agenda to actually go out there
Right.
and randomly walk into stores to buy something for me. The only time I could do it when I was being a bride. So I did a thorough research. Like, I think I went into every sector. I went into sectors like Chandni Chowk as well to understand where, why Chandni Chowk is so popular as a destination for any bride who's looking for a budget lehenga. And I went into something as niche as Meheroli and DLF Emporio as well to understand that what is it about these designers that they're charging so much. And over time, when I started doing this, I really started liking everything around it. And that is when I realized that wedding content creation is something I want to do. People kept asking me whether, what will I do after I get married? I'm like, just because I've gotten married doesn't mean that I can't make
Right.
same content.
Yeah.
And that's what I've still been doing, because of which I've also, started a separate vertical called Bride in Shining Armor, which is my styling page. And yeah, touchwood, it's been going very well since I started it this year only, and the wedding season is not around the corner.
Right.
So yeah, I've been progressively working on it.
I agree. I have also read very harsh comments on Instagram for a lot of wedding influencers, and comments were like, "इनकी शादी अभी तक चल रही है, इनकी शादी अभी तक खत्म नहीं हुई." So, sometimes it can be very demotivating when you're putting so much passion and so much love into the content,
Yeah.
especially when it's related to your wedding because you've just been through that journey
Yeah.
and you've created something so beautiful out of it, and so many people are drawing inspiration from that.
Yeah.
You're actually making a lot of brides' lives easier. So, which is one of the major reasons why I think there are a lot of brides who want to go viral on their wedding day, because I have heard a lot of people say this to me, Rumela, apni shaadi ko viral kaise karoon? Like, what is that one thing that I should do
Yeah.
that can take it to the next level? So I think that's a very common question that people have in mind, and there's nothing wrong in it, because
Yeah.
it's your special day, and this generation belongs to social media.
Yeah.
That said, did you have a wedding hashtag?
Yes, my hashtag was quite funny. It was Nishbani Malikin because my husband's surname is Malik. And
Okay.
I thought it's a very quirky and a cool hashtag. I'm sure a lot of other people did not because it gives a wrong, an impression with regard to, maybe ladki ko, she wants to be the queen of the house and stuff. But to me, it felt, and to me, it meant very different. I think it was something like, like people as a woman when you step into your marriage, you know that you expect to be treated very well, and you expect to have a life that's a better life because
Yeah.
as a girl we've always been said that the only um, relation that you can pick, and it's not something that happens by default, is uh, your husband and your partner.
Correct.
And I feel like I really wanted to feel like a queen with him, and that's why I kept that hashtag.
That's beautiful. I actually understand where the society pressure
Is
might have
heading to,
come
yeah.
from. For my wedding, the hashtag was Abhi Ram ke nashe mein. And the reaction was like,
Yeah.
like
That's how Indian society works. Yeah.
yeah, people were like, you can't really refer to something related to alcohol or intoxication at a
Yeah.
wedding, but we just wanted it to be really quirky.
Yeah.
And I think it's all about being fun and ensuring that your hashtag reflects your
Personality.
personality.
Yeah.
But now that the wedding is over and the entire celebration is done with, do you think that hashtag defined your wedding in its truest sense?
Um, my wedding, yes. I don't think the hashtag define can ever define a marriage because
Of course.
marriage has a lot of different things. It's like an amalgamation of sorts where, you're being treated very well by your in-laws also. There are people who are not being treated very well by the in-laws also, which is also another conversation to have altogether.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of how I've been in the last 4 months, I think it definitely defines it. Yes, there are responsibilities that come with your marriage, but I feel like I am very blessed and lucky to be in a family that treats me so well.
That's beautiful. I think when you are a queen, you'll
Yeah.
always have responsibilities, but
Yeah.
then it's the grandeur and the way you feel.
Feel about it, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about how your life makes you feel and how the world looks at you.
Yeah.
In our case, the world is all the people around us, the
Yes.
close ones, right?
Now that I look back, I don't think there was a single moment during the entire wedding, even though things went wrong. Like there were things that did not go according to how I wanted them to be. Um, but it's very easily, it's something that I can overlook, because everything else was so perfect.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually seen all of the videos that are available online. And one thing that I kept noticing again and again, it was beautiful, it was a very strong observation, was that you were happy all the time. You were like a jolly bride, enjoying every minute of it, dancing to the dhol beats. And that is a goal that as a wedding editor I also want to create, for all the brides that are planning their wedding right now, because in so many parts of India we see that brides are very stressed, they're not comfortable in their own skin, they're constantly conscious about मेरे बारे में कौन क्या सोच रहा है, should I make that move, क्या लोग मुझे जज कर लेंगे, should I stay shy, क्या मैं आंखें नीचे रखूँ, is it okay to dance, some very common challenges that brides in India face. So tell me about it. How was this? Where was this happiness coming from? What was the source of it? And how did your family members, your partner, everyone involved in your life contribute to it?
Okay, so that's a very nice question. Basically, I think as brides, we have so much pressure on ourselves to, be a certain way, look a certain way. You can't do this, you can't do that. And I feel like one thing that was very clear for me before my wedding was that it was something that was my day more than I was. Maybe it sounds a little narcissist, but I've always been this person who's been absorbed with the fact that it was my day, and as you know, like most husbands are not that concerned with how the planning is going, because as a society, that again, as a society, a wedding is sold to the bride so much. Like if we didn't exist,
Yeah.
this economy, the wedding economy wouldn't have survived, because I think a husband would totally tell you that court marriage kar lete hain aur fir party karenge bas. Like nobody cares. I am sure there are men out there who really would enjoy planning a wedding, but I think most of the time it's the woman who's very, very
Excited.
excited and involved in the planning process. So from the get go, I knew that my wedding is more about me and less about the world. And what is more important to me is enjoying it every minute, because it's one thing that doesn't happen to you time and time again.
Yes.
Hopefully, but like it's a one time thing and it's a milestone. So I really wanted to enjoy it. And in terms of how my friends and family added to it was the fact that I think everybody was so equally involved. I didn't see anybody be there just for the heck of it, or like we've just come to the wedding, we'll eat and go. I think my family was flooded with so much love in general. Like I could sense the love and the aura around me. Like you getting married and the girl feels it a lot more, because you're going somewhere and you're adding another family to your life, and there are people around you who love you so much. So it's just a whole bunch of emotions that,
Yes.
and it's happiness, but it's sadness, but it's like that is just a different frequency that you're at. You're just feeling a lot of bliss. So that's exactly what I was at.
As an influencer and a bride to be, did you have a Pinterest board to draw inspiration for how your wedding is going to look like?
Okay, so the only Pinterest board I had was around the outfits I had to wear, because the only planning that I had to do was around that. Rest of it was kind of taken care by my brother, who also owns a decor company, a luxury decor company called Nishchay Gandhi Designs. And no matter how much I would have thought about how I want my wedding to look, at the end of the day, he would have known better, because he's been doing this for 10 years and his work is exceptional. So I knew that even if even if I have these little Pinterest boards that I showed him, he would just say, "Isse photos mein acha lagta hai," "Isse photos mein acha lagta hai," and he would also know the fact that this is something that's overdone, because I'm getting married for the first time.
Yeah.
So I would only want something, like that I've seen on the internet, and he would know whether that's been done in over 100 weddings, or something that he could do that is very unique for my wedding that I wouldn't even understand or wrap my head around. So I kind of let that creative freedom be and I gave that to him. My Pinterest board in terms of outfits were huge. Jewelry, makeup, hair, even like I think small things like gift packs and hampers and photo booths and the kind of stuff I wanted for my haldi or my mehendi, that I did have.
I talked to a lot of businesses who are in the wedding industry, and one of the biggest challenges they face is that couples bring the boards to them and say, "This is what we would want to replicate. हमें exactly यही कर दो." Especially in terms of decor and setup, sometimes it's a huge challenge for them because, the flowers, the season, day night ka difference, lighting ka difference, budget.
का difference.
Exactly. There are so many things that need to be taken into consideration. And coming from you, I think it's going to be very, very insightful for all of the people, all of the brides to be, because they will be able to create a vision board. Like, this is how I would want it to look.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't be disappointed if it's not exactly
the same.
a replica of the same. Yeah, absolutely. What about your vendors, all the behind the scene heroes who made your dream wedding come true?
One vendor I've
Yeah.
specified about my brother. I think I really wanted to focus on him because I feel like he gave all his heart and he'd always had these dreams about my wedding, you know, like मैं अपनी बहन की शादी ऐसे करूँगा, मैं अपनी बहन की शादी वैसे करूँगा. And you would not believe me, but I did not know how my mandap is going to look like, or you know, how my haldi is going to look like, or my sangeet is going to look like. I was completely dependent on how he's going to make it. I would really like sit him down and tell him, bro, please bata do kya kar rahe ho, because I also need to know, at least you need to know what my outfits are like so you don't clash them with the decor. But I think he outdid himself in multiple ways. Um, in terms of my planning team, I think I hired Anisha from Riwaze Rishte, who was also very on point. I think I planned everything that I wanted on all my functions a week before, and literally, I'm telling you,
Wow.
you would. I planned everything I wanted a week before. I didn't even know my planning team before that. My brothers worked with them a lot, but he's like, हाँ ho jayega, because you know he's planned weddings like in a day. Overnight he's done weddings, so he was like, tension nahi hai, last में बैठेंगे. I was like, bro. But yeah. So 1 week before, she's like, Acha, let's do a meeting. I was like, she comes home and literally I'm getting my nails done for my wedding. And she's like, आपको entry कैसे चाहिए, आपको ये कैसे चाहिए, आपको वो कैसे चाहिए. And within, I think, I told her I don't want anything boastful. So I was always a person who doesn't want anything, you know, like too much drama. कि पीछे fireworks हो रहे हैं. But I mean, मतलब people have a lot of stuff, you know. They're like entering with random people. I just told her that I want something very ethereal and minimal. And within 2 days, she had a lot of ideas about, you know, you could do this, we can do this. So Anisha gave me this really cool idea for my entry where, you know, there are these pyros and you have like a blast of like green leaves coming. I couldn't imagine it back then because she just explained it and she told me nobody's ever done it before. So I was like, let's just take a chance. As long as it's not looking, you know, like very cheap or something, because I didn't like confettis or anything. I just wanted a subtle petal shower at the Jaimala and just a entry sort of a thing. So we had the entire entry was very pretty. Like I had my friends throwing little petals on the ground, so we make like a pathway for me. And then there was a blast of green leaves. And when the pictures came out, they looked very very nice. So that's when I realized that, you know, there are some things that you should let the team decide and not be very stringent about, you know, this is the thing that I want, because sometimes the people who are doing it know better than you. You know, like you
Absolutely.
should let it be sometimes.
And I love that you were such a fuss-free bride. Because most of the times when we're talking to vendors, one thing they're really worried about is the back and forth, the number of calls, the lack of trust. Of course, in this case, it was also because your brother was involved.
Yeah.
But
That
it's
was a big thing, yeah.
yeah, but it's very difficult for a bride to just, you know, set everything aside and say, okay, I have faith in what you're doing. I'm just going to be chill. I think that's amazing. And what you mentioned about the flower shower, what I love about this is how simple everything really is.
Yeah.
But when you look at the video or when you look at the content on social media, it looks so elegant. It looks out of the world. So when you're explaining the behind the scenes to me, it's very simple. So, you know, it
Yeah.
sends a message that you don't have to go out of your way.
Yeah.
बहुत कुछ flamboyant करना हमेशा ज़रूरी नहीं होता.
हाँ.
Right? Like little small personalized moments can
Moment.
also make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Are there any specific moments from the wedding that, of course, I'm sure you remember your entire wedding right now. It happened in
still plays in
October.
my head sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, but are there any specific moments that stand out for you? Like very special?
I think my entry was also one of my favorite moments. I think nobody realizes what exactly is going on in the bride's head when she's walking down
Right.
the aisle. Because, you know, when I stepped out, I had to wait in my car for a very long time because the barat and the traditions were going on. You know, my mom had a performance and everybody was entering, settling down. Then Karan went to the mandap and I was in the car. Like Anisha just planned my entry. She's like, "Ab gaadi mein baith jao." But then I don't know for how long I was in that huge lehenga. I was just sitting in my car and my social media team inside the car. You know, like I couldn't even fit my lehenga in the car. And when I literally got off, and I had a special song customized by a company called Wet Beats. The moment that started playing, I was shivering. I was like, shit. And I had like 8, 9 brothers behind me. They're just like holding my veil. And I was shivering. And you know, that I think that moment when you're walking down the aisle and you know, you have an entire audience around you, you know, like hooting for you and,
Staring
you know,
at you.
clapping and staring at you and like in awe. You feel like it's like, it literally feels like a movie.
Yeah.
You know, it is one of those moments where you feel you are a part of a movie.
You're the actor, you're
Actor,
the main
yeah.
character.
So that's one moment I really loved. And my haldi, I think, was by far my favorite function because it was very intimate. It was 100 people, only my family and closest friends. And on while I was getting my haldi done, all of my girlfriends were crying. And you know, like there was a perfect music in the background with the perfect haldi songs from Kabira to every, and all my 4 or 5 of my friends in front row crying. There were tears. I don't know. There were tears of joy, or they were just very emotional. And I even had my guy friends cry. So I
Aw.
think my haldi was one of the most. It doesn't leave my, you know, my box of memories in the brain. And I'm a person who genuinely loves weddings. You know, like I think one of the major reasons why I also create content around weddings is because the whole idea of weddings in India, maybe it's a little too overhyped and sold, but I am obsessed with weddings. Like, I feel like every time I'm at a wedding, I always tell Karan, I'm like, bro, I don't know, I just love weddings. I just think the frequency of it, the whole, the love and the aura and the people who are really happy, you know, it's so high, you can feel it. You know, even if
Absolutely.
there are like negative energies here and there, they can get cancelled out completely. You know, you can literally feel at a wedding that the energy is that high because there are
Absolutely.
so many people who are collectively happy.
Yeah. I think love completely takes over
Over.
at a wedding.
Yeah.
And I also love how so many people come together to celebrate someone else.
Else, yeah.
I think it's beautiful when you can step down and say, Aaj tumhara din hai.
Yeah.
You know, that's a very important human element that I think we all should have. And it's quite amazing. Speaking about your wedding planning journey, you mentioned that it wasn't something that you were doing for a very long time, so there was not like a huge timeline to it. Like it was very last minute. But was there like a process? And this is basically a tip for all of the brides out there who are already influencers or might want to be. And I know that a lot of times they stress कि वायरल करने के लिए क्या करें और हाउ डू वी मेक इट इंस्टाग्राम वर्दी कैसे मोमेंट्स हैं जो परफेक्ट होने चाहिए सो डू यू हैव एनी टिप्स फॉर देम on how the process was for you or how they should be looking at things.
So I think as an influencer bride, I had to really strike a balance. Like I did not want it to be entirely something that I'm doing for the gram at all. It was just by default that I had to do it. Um, but it wasn't like everything inch to inch was planned for the gram. You know, everything I did was planned for me. It was just by default that I had to put it on the gram, and I was lucky enough to have the kind of vendors and people who made my wedding that way. um, I think I know people who've really like put it down to the T that, you know, this is how it's supposed to happen. This will go
Yeah.
viral. This will go viral. You know, I've heard so many stories that, you know, this wedding dance was specifically planned to go viral. I don't think I did anything specifically to go viral. Everything that I did was personal to me, and I just put it out there. So I feel if you go very hard at, you know, I want this wedding to go viral, even when you're not an influencer, we all know that it's the reality of our world, influencer world, that if a wedding goes viral, the bride goes viral, you know.
Yeah.
And that's when her influencer career starts. There are a lot of influencers like that. I'm
Correct.
not saying they're all. I'm just saying there are a lot of influencers who kickstarted their career from their weddings. I did not just want to be that bride who kickstarted her career because of her wedding. Okay. And I was okay if my wedding did not go viral, to be very honest. I wanted to build it up in a way that people come to my page not because, you know, iski shadi bahut achhi thi. I wanted to build it up in a way that people come to my page so they, you know, they actually find value in it. You know, like having a good, that's why I wasn't that concerned about the details, because to have a random wedding dance go viral will not help you retain an audience. what you're adding to their lives will help you retain your audience, right? So maybe, okay, my wedding lehenga went viral, oh my god, so beautiful, whatever. But that one outfit will not help you retain the audience, right? Maybe you start putting some XYZ content after your wedding and the audience just drops out. So I really wanted to build it up in a way that, like my wedding day is not so important, but people come to me for a reason.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you made sure that your wedding was about your wedding and nothing else.
Yeah.
And then whatever went viral just happened.
Happened,
The rest
yeah.
is history. But talking about the kind of content that your followers loved to see from your wedding days, are there any specific stories that went really viral, certain themes, or like, there are categories of every kind of content, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to dig in to understand that what is the general sentiment of the brides and the grooms who are like constantly looking at social media, scrolling endlessly to find content for their wedding day. Of course, there's a lot of inspiration that works for them. They're looking for knowledge, they're looking for which outfit designers are available within a certain budget, which markets should we look at, how to style clothes, etc. But what are the moments from the weddings that really make a difference to these audiences?
Um, so I think some of the moments that really work are majorly moments that are super emotional. So I think for me, my girlfriend video went very viral where my bridesmaids were, like helping me out, and like the entire thing where you have real best friends who are there at your wedding, and it's such a nostalgic feeling. That I think I also feel like a brother video really goes viral. If a husband cries, then the reel is like, oh my god, if you see the comments, you're like, and there are times I was like telling Karan, if you don't cry, he's like, yeah, I am not an actor, why should I cry? I'm like, only actors don't cry, like normal people also cry. But like I was just joking around with him, like you have to cry because crying reels just go viral. So the bridesmaid section, even the husband going and brothers, um, if it's a very cool dance performance, something that's not been done before or very well coordinated, that is something that really helps. I feel like haldi dances really go viral and are something that people really look up to. Um, Outfits for sure. Like if the lehenga or something is really, really good and out of the world, the entire look put together is very, very good, then that's something that goes viral. What else?
I also noticed your pet was there with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me more about it because I think planning pet friendly weddings are quite a challenge in India.
Yeah, so I initially wanted him to come, like, enter before me on the wedding day. But my mom is like, the entire attention will shift to him. Why
That's-
would you do that? And then we decided, and he's also a little bit difficult to manage, like, who would have taken the responsibility to get him to the venue, take him back? Because it's a huge deal. 600, 700 people. You wouldn't want to, like,
Yeah.
like have him there. But we decided we'll have him for like the low-key functions, which was Mehendi and Haldi. Mehendi was at home only, so he was there, and Haldi was at my Masi's house, so we took him there. And I literally drove. I think my planner only suggested me that we could have like an entry for him on the Haldi day, and I was completely okay with that because like he would have been like the star of the show and he deserves it. And we had this little toy car with something written like "Ladies, don't worry, I'm still single."
Oh.
And he's a little restless, okay? He couldn't even sit still in that car. So me and Karan, we both like, we love him. So we were pushing the car slowly, and then the entry was a fail, but it was still cute.
Yeah, it's difficult to orchestrate that with your
The
four
dog,
pod
yeah.
kids. I know the feeling. I have two. They were there at the wedding. But then there were a lot of moments when they felt a little anxious. Yeah, so I was constantly, as a bride, also I was constantly feeling guilty that maybe I shouldn't bring them
got him.
here.
Yeah.
Maybe I should just send them back to the room. And I was constantly planning my events around it, like remove dhol from here or don't bring them down when the dhol part is going on because you can't really cancel out the baratis. Like, that is a huge part of the
Yeah.
wedding day, so you have to manage accordingly. A lot of people love to use firecrackers. So, I think planning it overall for the pets is very, very important. And I love that you involved him in a more intimate affair,
Function, yeah.
because there everyone loves him, everyone knows him, so he's a little friendly and in a comfortable space. That's beautiful. Looking back, Nishtha, what is that one advice that every bride should and groom should definitely know, and maybe sometimes people miss saying that to them,
Advice in what way?
like advice in their wedding planning journey?
I feel the only answer for this would be the fact that, if you it's a very taxing but very fulfilling journey. I feel it's like the best part of the wedding. Now that I look back, I think it was the best part of the wedding, the anticipation to it. Like the wedding week goes by in seconds, in a blink of an eye, but the entire 1 year anticipating the wedding and planning for it was the best part. So um, I feel like if you're somebody who's very creative, you'll be very fulfilled while planning your wedding. And if you have the time, because I know so many corporate girls who don't have the time. um, but if you're somebody who gets very stressed out very easily and don't want to control every bit of the wedding, then I think you should outsource it, to be honest. Because I know people who are type A, but like who'd want every bit of their wedding controlled.
Yeah.
But there are also people who get stressed out very easily. So I think I really enjoyed the creative bit. I really enjoyed putting things together, but somebody else would not. So I would suggest them to just outsource every bit of it and do whatever they have to do on their side, and rest everything else can be taken care of by somebody else.
So it really depends on the personality of the bride and the groom. If as a couple they really want to manage everything to the T and they're very specific about the things they want at the wedding, then the timeline for the wedding planning is going to be very different. The process is going to be very different. But your suggestion is to just take it easy and outsource as much as possible,
Yeah.
so that you're not so stressed through your wedding
Through your
planning
wedding
journey.
planning.
And they can all then hopefully have the same happy bridal glow that you did.
Well, that of course also depends on whether you have the resources to do it. Because
Yes.
I'm not saying that somebody can just easily outsource it. I'm sure there are people out there who would be like, I might as well do it myself than
Yeah.
spend so much on
Yeah.
a different vendor doing it. But yeah, if you do have the ability and the resources to do it, then you should definitely go ahead with that and lay a lot of duties off you.
Guys, at this point, I must remind you, you have a free wedding budget calculator. All you have to do is download the Wedding Wire India app, use the calculator, put your estimated budget over there, and the calculator in itself is going to segregate your total budget into different categories. This is to help you figure out what is the total amount that needs to be spent in different categories. It doesn't have to be followed to the T, but it can really help you in the entire process so that you're not going over the budget in certain categories and then you're feeling stressed out because there is so much more that is remaining for you. So make sure you use that calculator and make your wedding planning journey easier. Back to our discussion, Nishtha. I also wanted to ask you, because there's so much content that was created during the wedding. Was there like a planning process for that? Did you have like a content calendar in place? And who helped you through that entire process?
So one thing I knew for sure is that I wanted a social media team because I feel a photographer and videographer team would only curate it for you, like like the happy moments. They'll tell you to pose. Of course, there is candid moments as well, but um, the professional camera does not do justice to what is happening on ground, as well as like somebody candidly taking your shots. And a guest would not be doing that for you. So I think you need a separate team, um, if you're planning to obviously post content. But more than that also, even if you're not planning to post content, I think that was by far the best decision that I took, because my team was viral ever after. I think they're doing pretty well now. Um, the I think they captured moments that you would want to remember. Like uh, there were videos of, and they also pretty much like mingled with all my family and friends and made them do things that you wouldn't even imagine. Like they made uh, everybody, even my in-laws and my cousins and Karan's cousins, do fit checks and things that you would want to remember and look back on. So I was quite surprised. They also had a surprise video for me and Karan and his real brother and sister, which was a transition. And Karan saying on camera that this is, you're the only person that I would do this for. Otherwise, like, I would never do this. And he has a full transition video that was a surprise. So they obviously, I sat down with them beforehand and had a meeting where we discussed a lot of ideas that I wanted to be executed, and some ideas that they brought forward because they knew what works, what does not. And we had an entire Excel sheet and shots that we had to like execute and plan and shoot on the important days. More than that, I think they also kept different surprises. They also had a separate video of people, they brought people together and asked them what they remember about me and Karan. Like, they just dropped those bombs later on. And it was so much fun because there are also times when your video team is not providing you the content on time. They take time because the processing takes time and deliverables take time. But these guys, they just make a folder and they send you everything. And you can go through the videos and relive your wedding within a day or two. And it is such a good thing, I feel, that more than just the Instagram bit of it, I really enjoyed having them and literally recording things that a video team would have missed. So that was a good idea. Yeah.
Love it. I think it's a beautiful perspective for all of the couples who are planning their wedding right now, because you have these amazing videographers and photographers working behind the scenes to make your dream wedding come true. And then you have those picture perfect videos to look back at once you're married. But the social media team that
It's
you're,
more candid,
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like everything that people don't get to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. I think, like you mentioned some time ago also, that emotions play a very important role in weddings, and not just for social media, but for us to look back and have a really good laugh about
Yeah.
it. I think that's beautiful how you're capturing these memories. Amazing idea. I love it, and I would really suggest influencers who are planning their wedding and people who want to create content for social media to look into this trend, because I think this can be like a
Even people who are
trend.
not, I feel, because I feel that's a separate section that people do need now, apart from having a professional photographer. That is very important, of course. But this is something that I feel would really add to your bank of memories.
Yeah, love it. It's a really nice thing to think about. Also, Nishtha, I noticed that you had some themes for all of your events, and there were also traditional, like different traditions coming together. Like, for
Yeah.
example, you're not from South India, right?
Yeah.
But you had some South Indian traditions. What was
So
that about?
I got so much hate for that haldi theme that I did, because I feel like, there are literally Times Now wrote an article about it, and there's a whole thread on Reddit about it, on Insta Celeb Gossips, which is like a Reddit group about, like, I don't know what that group is about. It's just about gossiping about
Yeah.
influencers and really throwing them around. But yeah. So I feel the problem wasn't with my theme per se. It was about the word or the term I used when I uploaded that reel. So what I wrote on the reel was the fact that, I had a North Indian wedding and my theme was South Indian, which people thought was cultural appropriation, which I also felt there were there were a lot of people who also supported me in a way, because I feel that there were so many comments about, like, let this be. We see so many other people, wearing lehengas. What is your problem?
Right.
And there were people who came at me like, are you tone deaf? I'm like, I later on realized that the problem wasn't the theme, because I did my haldi with full respect for the culture. And obviously, I'm also an Indian at the end of the day. Might not be South Indian, but, you know, but we really enjoy their food, and I really wanted people to dress up in traditional clothes, and we just picked that theme. The problem came, I think, was for the fact that I wrote South Indian, and like, they just basically told me that you were disrespecting it because I didn't specify the region. I could have And I
Yeah.
made people wear, saris, and the whole idea behind it, what really, and the Times Now article really, like, like, gave me a setback, because what
Yeah.
they wrote was something like second hand embarrassment at an influencer wedding or something like that. And and I was like, bro, they've not even given the other side of the picture, like the people who are actually supporting us, people, like the Bengalis dressing up like North Indians. There are
Right.
South Indians also dressing up like North Indians. The only problem, I think, came with the fact that did not mention the region.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe something else also, but it's quite, you don't know how to put this, because sometimes it gets very sensitive for people in our
Yeah.
country. Yeah.
I think what's really sad is, when it comes from a very innocent place
Hmm.
and you're just trying to celebrate the traditions
Traditions.
of your country and do something
Yeah.
different. And it's not really about demeaning a culture, but it's about celebrating it
Celebrating it.
because
Yeah.
it's different from what you have seen or experienced or grown up to do. Like, I'm a Bengali. I have got married into a UP Brahmin family, but I was very excited about doing a mehendi and a
Mehendi.
sangeet. And a lot of my relatives were like, this is very different from what happens at a
At
weddings, or you don't really wear that Bengali Banarasi sari. You
Hmm.
had your own look, but I was like, this is my personality.
Yeah.
This is what, and of course, I love my culture. I love where I come from, but I have been exposed to so much that there's a mix and match in me now,
Yeah.
which also I celebrate and appreciate because I'm influenced by so many cultures in my country because I've gone out of my city and, been to different states,
Yeah.
explored so many cuisines and so many ways of life. So, yeah, it's really sad when people get adamant and rude about it. But I actually loved everything that I saw on social media when you posted it, and I thought it was quite beautiful how the outfits came together. And
I also did really love it, but I think that I don't know where the problem lies. I feel like our entire country is so diverse in
yeah,
general that at the end of the day, nothing is completely unique. Everything is a mix of something else.
true.
One element or the other comes together. Now, the fact that if you're fighting amongst regions also, like, this is your culture, why have you mixed my culture with yours, or why are you doing your function in a certain way, we don't do it this way, why did you call this specific term that. I i know there was some fault on my end, that people really felt sensitive about it, and I really accept it because there was so much drama around it. But I did not see the big deal in it.
Yeah,
I might sound tone deaf. Maybe this could also, like, like, blow up, and people are like, how can she be so tone deaf? Why is she saying that again? That she did not see a big deal about it. But again, I feel I should have been more sensitive about people's sentiments about their culture.
yeah,
Again, yeah.
and also like help them understand that picking the culture was probably not the theme of your
Yeah,
event.
yeah.
It was just you respecting,
Mm.
a tradition that you've
Tradition.
seen from a distance, and you kind of
I'm
found
not a
it
part of
beautiful.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, understood. Nisha, I have some rapid fire questions for you, which are more about you confessing to things from your wedding planning journey. I'm going to quickly ask them. The first one is, what did you buy first, the jewelry or the outfit, and why?
I bought the outfit first because I think it's harder to find a right outfit than to find the right jewelry. And if you find the jewelry, then it's even harder to find the outfit that matches that jewelry.
What's one thing you tell every bride to not waste money on?
I think photo booths. I honestly feel like I've seen so many weddings. I think you should just have one, mark of entry where people are entering and getting their pictures done for attendance. Apart from that, no photo booth I've seen get used, apart from, like, if you need editorial pictures or something.
Hmm.
Um, I've seen areas of wedding go to waste because people have not used a single photo op. So I feel like keeping one or two that you really want is fine. More than that is just a waste.
Got it. Most awkward wedding ritual you had to do?
Okay, so this is something that I don't think I had a single awkward wedding ritual. So the only two things here that I want to mention is that one, we did not have very patriarchal fairas. Our fairas were instructed to be very quick and not to have those, like आपसे permission लेके ही घर से बाहर जाऊंगी and जो आप बोलोगे वो करूंगी वाले fairas we did not have. One, two, yeah. So basically, this was it, and we did not do a kanyadan. I was, I think my family was also pretty against the idea of, like kanyadan because we don't understand it. Um, these two things we completely discarded in terms of, we don't relate to it. But apart from that, I think most Indian traditions, even if we question them or not, and we've been carrying them for generations without questioning the logic of it or the scientific reasons behind them. But all of them I find are pretty cute. Like, like mehendi is a cute tradition. Even haldi is a cute tradition. Chuda is a cute. Um, my my question is that we should start questioning it, but if it makes sense to you and if you enjoy
Yeah.
incorporating it in your wedding, then you should go ahead with it. Because even a barat, for that matter, is a tradition going on for so long because people used to travel cities.
Yeah.
Like they're coming from their own city to get, or villages to their own village, to the girl's village, and they're getting the girl to their village. That was the concept of a barat. It wasn't, like you're walking from one courtyard to another.
Correct.
So that the barat tradition is still going on because people want to enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
So if it makes sense to you and you enjoy it, then you should definitely incorporate it into your wedding. And if it doesn't align with your value system, then it's entirely up to the couple or the family to discard it if they want to. I don't think there is a specific ritual you should definitely, follow. Like, for example, after haldi, a man is not supposed to go to his house. So that's why, if you're outside, you can't come back to your home. So that's why people never used to have haldis together. The
Yeah.
haldi used to happen separately.
Yeah.
The man used to be in his house and the woman used to be in her house. And now we started doing haldi together, especially after destination weddings have taken over.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things that go behind it. But in terms of my wedding, I don't think I find most rituals coming from our parents' place for a reason. And if I think I question some of them, I simply discarded them. But apart from that, I was very happy with how my wedding went by.
I think there are a lot of modern interpretations for Kanyadan nowadays because
Yeah.
the priest will tell you, "Aap Shankh Dan kar lo." So it's like a puja, but then the bride doesn't have to go through all of those rituals, like where it's made very obvious that she's being given away by
Away, yeah,
someone.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's quite beautiful that we have another ways to evaluate now and then
Now.
follow whatever is making
Yeah,
sense
now
to
people
us.
have female pundits. They have
Yeah.
the fairas, they've changed the vows in a way that are more equal.
Yeah.
So it entirely depends on you. Like I did not have a female pandit, I had a male pandit, but we did not have a single vow that was patriarchal. Like
Same.
we had
Yeah.
very simple, equal vows where they just told us that this is what a husband and wife mean to each other, and this is how you're supposed to lead your life. That's it.
I love how pundits are also making it funny these days
Yeah.
because you see a lot of photos of really happy brides
Brides.
during the fairas and I think that's because they connect with whatever is being
Being
said,
said.
and both of them are
And
like,
they're also
okay.
making it more millennial.
Yeah.
They're making it more relatable to the couple of now.
Yeah, it's like setting goals for each other. तुम ये करना मैं ये करूँगी.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you have any wedding planning regrets? Like, how I wish I did this a certain way?
I think just two things. One was that my barat was supposed to be my fairas was supposed to be sundowner. That didn't happen. But I was okay with it. As you know, I was like a very chill bride. I was like nothing. There's nothing I'm gonna take to my head. Whatever's happening is happening for a reason, and I'm glad it happened. And secondly, that I did not have the time to go for trials. So a lot was messed up with my blouses, which I
Oh.
think is something that I would really urge brides to do, that they should at least take 2-3 trials. I had to pick my lehengas beforehand because my mom said ki you can't get a wedding lehenga home in Shraddhs, and that was right before my wedding.
Yeah, correct.
So I did not have the time to go back and get my blouses fixed. So that's one thing I really regret.
Got it. Your biggest oh no moment and how did you handle it, if there was any?
So my biggest oh no moment was I kind of lost my diamond bracelet on the Sangeet day. And and I came back and I was changing into my after party clothes and I realized I did not have a bracelet in the hand and I told Karan and we both were very stressed. And for the time being, when the party was actually supposed to start, it all stopped. And I don't know what time was it, but there were people looking for it. And then my planner, after I think 10-15 minutes of panic, I literally tracked it in our social media team's videos. When was the last time I had it in my hand? And my planner randomly just comes from afar away and she's like, I have it. And I started jumping on people. I was like, yes, let's get the party started. And then we went back.
I actually relate with this so much. We lost our rings right before the engagement ceremony.
Yeah.
And it
Oh,
was like,
what?
yeah. So we were looking at the entire room. My mom was checking, and my mom said, I think you've left it in the house
Yeah.
because it's not here at the venue. And then we had like an engagement and a cocktail. But then people were so busy dancing. It was like a family concert.
Right.
So no one really cared that
The rings are there
engagement to
or not.
hua
Yeah.
nahi. Only like the immediate family knew. But then we found it the next morning. It was there in the venue only. So I was like relieved that okay, because I knew I had packed it and then we just did it during the Varmala.
Varmala.
We just, and I think these mishaps happen.
Yeah.
They're
I know
very
people who
normal.
left their outfits in a different city. Like my engagement is in Mumbai, but I left my outfit at home in Bangalore.
And then what did
I-
did she wear?
I don't remember how they solved it. I think they just went out to find more outfits on that very day
Oh my god.
because it was impossible to just fly it in at that moment.
That's wow, this should never happen to anyone.
Yeah.
Last question. If you won an additional 15 lakhs for your dream wedding, what would you spend it on?
Honestly, I'd go for another honeymoon. I would not spend it on my wedding. I would definitely explore a new country.
Got it. With that, we end the conversation for today. But it's been amazing having this conversation with you. I hope that the influencer brides and all of the other couples who are listening to us right now take a lot of information back with them
Yeah.
and know how to plan their social media content, create Instagrammable content, and enjoy their wedding to the fullest in the
Fullest.
process. Thank you, Nishta, so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.